Hi, Google. Let's get the show starting. Thanks, Google. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Voice Talks, presented by the Google Assistant. I'm Sofia Altuna from our Google Assistant team, and I'm going to be your host for this new monthly live stream series about all things voice. First, I want to take a couple of minutes to say that we really hope you and your loved ones are all safe and well. We know this past few months have been challenging for all of us. And as we're finding new ways to interact and connect from home, we really wanted to create Voice Talks for it to be a place to connect the voice community together. So whether you work in this industry, or you do it as a hobby, or you simply just like using these devices, we want this to be a platform where we can all connect with each other, share what we're working on, and learn from each other. We're so thankful to already have so many of you from around the world with this similar passion in voice technology joining us today. And we want to know exactly where you're joining us from. So I can start by saying that I am from Caracas, Venezuela, and I live in New York City. So now it's your turn, so go to the chat and please start entering where you're joining us from, because we really want to see how global this community is. As you do that, I wanted to let you know that we've also been seeing a lot of the comments and videos that you've been sending to us, and they are absolutely incredible. We are so excited to share so many of them throughout the next hour. While we do have some limitations in filming due to the current restrictions, I am personally so excited to be here with you from my living room in New York City, debuting our first episode. Like hopefully many of you, I am personally very excited about this because I've been passionate about the voice space for a very long time. Even before I joined the Google Assistant team, I was already working at Google and doing voice projects on the side and helping mentoring a few startups in this space. When the Google Assistant first came out, I immediately went and I bought so many devices. And I put so many of them in all the different corners of my New York City apartment. I personally loved it, but I know a few people felt that the ratio of devices to the square footage of my apartment was definitely a little bit off, but I didn't care. And that same Christmas, I wanted to spread the love, so I went and bought out devices for my parents, for my grandparents, and for my sister. So I'm very proud to have a family of power users. Everyone from my nephew to my grandparents use these devices. And nowadays, that has been especially very helpful because it's helped us all stay connected and entertained while in isolation. Given my passion in voice, I was thrilled to join the Google Assistant team a few years ago. I really wanted to be part of this constant stream of innovation and be helpful in delivering experiences for you that can either be informative, that can help us, that can keep us entertained, and that can help us get things done efficiently. Throughout my journey in voice, I've had the pleasure to meet so many industry leaders in this space that I've come to admire, follow, and respect. So one of my favorite things about Voice Talks is that we're bringing a lot of them here. So every month, we're gonna have a group of industry leaders join Voice Talks and share with us their stories, the trends that they're seeing, and just any insights that they have about this space. Your comments and ideas are also incredibly helpful in helping us shape this program. Please keep them coming, because the more that we hear from you, the more that we're going to be able to tailor content to what you want to hear. In this first episode, we're going to be talking about voice technology for a new era. And we truly have an incredible lineup of speakers that have so much to say about this topic. We're first going to hear about how voice technology is helping with the current crisis from Manuel Bronstein and Bernstein from the Google Assistant team. Afterwards, we're going to have David Spitsky from the Amazon Alexa team talking to us about what he's seeing in voice during this time and how we can be helpful. Following David, we're going to have Brett Kinsella from voca.ai sharing with us the latest trends and news in the space, especially as the space has changed quite a bit in the past few months with the consumer behavior changing. And lastly, we're going to have an interview with Jolene Amit from voca.ai, who's going to be sharing with us the innovative approach her company is taking to detecting the virus via voice. We are so excited, and if you haven't gotten a chance to submit your comments yet, do not worry. but we really hope that you become part of the conversation today by asking live questions on the chat or by going on Twitter and including the hashtag AskSofia. I'll be looking at your comments all throughout the show, and at the end of it, we're gonna have some surprise giveaways, and I'm also gonna be answering some of your questions live. To start us off, I have an exciting comment from Dr. Joan Baharek in Seattle. She's telling us how voice tech is helping her stay connected, stay organized, and support her physical and mental health routines during this time. I know probably many of you can relate, and I definitely can. Even though I've been using the Google Assistant for a long time, I've definitely been using it more and more these days. I use it a lot to stay connected to my family that's all over the world. I've also been using a lot to get some helpful recipe tips. They're very much needed if I wanted to have some healthy and successful meals during this quarantine. And then one of my favorite things that we actually use it for in this apartment is that some nights we turn off the lights, we light up a few candles, and then we talk to the Google Assistant to help us meditate. I think it's just such a beautiful and peaceful way for me to end my day that I've been loving it. Now we're going to learn how the Google Assistant team is using voice technology to improve people's lives from home from Danny and Manuel. All right, Danny, take it away.
Thanks so much, Sofia. Welcome, everyone. It's really exciting to be here and to launch Voice Talks with the team from Modev. For us at Google, this is an opportunity to connect with the broader voice ecosystem and learn and engage with the community. We can also use this platform to share some of Google's learnings from building consumer experiences in voice and in other mediums. We're really committed to this space and our partners in the ecosystem, so I'm looking forward to what we can accomplish here with Voice Talks. I'd like to introduce and welcome Manuel Bronstein, our Vice President of Product Management for the Google Assistant. Manuel and I have worked together for several years now, and he is no stranger to the consumer product space, having previously led product for the YouTube team at Zynga and with Microsoft for the Xbox platform. Manuel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Danny.
I think we have to start with what's just top of mind for all of us right now, and that's, of course, COVID-19. You and I would normally do this interview from a few feet apart at the Google office or maybe at a conference in front of a few hundred people, but instead we're doing this virtually from our homes, and we're only a few miles apart. COVID-19 has really changed everything around us, and it's great to be able to talk about technology, but of course we all have really heavy hearts to think about the broader context and the impact on society. I'm here, I'm working from home, my family's in the other room, my kids may wander in here right now. But Manuel, what's your experience? How are you doing? How's your family doing? How are you finding ways to cope?
Yeah, no, of course. Thankfully, we're all doing well. I know it's strange to say the least. The lines of work and personal life blur a lot these days. I've been trying to do my best to find a schedule that allows me to detach and separate those things the best I can, making up space for and time for the family and the kids and for work. I think, on the personal side, I've been exercising, biking, keeping safe distance, of course. I've been learning to play the guitar and the piano and enjoying that in some of the free time. And, on the work side, like most people, I'm missing the dynamics of the real social interaction that happens when you're having, a passionate discussion about the business, the strategy, the product, missing being in the room with all the folks and talking to them as you walk on the hallway. But I'm also pretty amazed at how far we've come in our ability to work from home. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, Manuel, thank you so much for sharing. I can absolutely relate. Of course, typically we would be at physical events, engaging with our partners and engaging with the community, but we're trying to adapt. And this event is an example. We're trying to find ways to do virtual conversations. So hopefully you watching right now will find this format useful and gives you a chance to be connected with us on a consistent basis. So Manuel, taking a step away from the impact of COVID-19 on you personally, how do you think this is impacting the voice space and the voice ecosystem?
The reality is that all of us working on the voice space been looking for ways to make technology more accessible more seamless to use, remove the friction. Voice makes interacting with technology more natural and easier, right? You could argue that, actually using devices these days without touching them, in particular shared devices or public devices, where you could only use your voice, it's a powerful thing, right? And it's good that people are doing those things. I think that we've been hearing from our users how they're using their products these days, and you see how they are using voice to interact with their devices and have potentially dance parties at home, potentially actually use it more for group communication with their friends and family. We even heard people who were trying to create some outside noise background with the device as they're trying to do work or sipping a coffee to feel that they're outside. So it's pretty remarkable. But the only thing about voice is that actually it makes the technology very accessible to everybody, kids, adults, older people, and that's a very powerful thing these days that people are staying at home. The most important thing that we know, the most dramatic change that we're all seeing is that people are spending a lot more time at home, and we have a lot of opportunity to deliver value and make people more productive and while they're in that space for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really resonates with our behavior around here. We start the morning with music, with news, with weather, and then we're by the afternoon we're having dance parties and things like that. And so, what are some of the things that the Google Assistant team is doing to be more helpful right now and to be able to serve users who are looking for information about what's happening in the world?
Yeah, no, the teams are working really, really hard. I think the first and foremost, the most important thing that we're trying to do is deliver accurate and relevant information to people when they're asking questions about COVID, things about the virus, things about the symptoms, stats. We're trying to be able to answer to all of those questions that people may have. Of course, people are also looking for news, and we're doing our best to expand the coverage of those news that the devices are providing, and in particular, expanding the number of markets and the languages in which we're supporting that content. One thing that is very interesting that we have been able to do with the Duplex technology is update business hours, closures of stores, or any information that they can provide, so that when you're checking information about a business online, you know whether they are delivering or you can actually go for pickup, whether they have contactless delivery. Many gyms and other places are offering online classes. So being able to update that information using our technology to do that has been very powerful. The other thing that we did, which was pretty neat, we added a timer and a song that helps people wash their hands. It's impressive when you try to wash your hands for more than 40 seconds. It's an ordeal in some way. And actually having this thing next to you that is playing the audio makes it a lot easier to know that, okay, now I'm done. I did it properly. So it's been good. And of course, the teams are looking at many new other opportunities where we can improve people's life at home.
That's great. Yeah, the hand washing song has definitely been very popular around our house. So we've talked about how more of us are interacting with these devices while we're spending time at home. We call it in our team, we call it LFH, WFH, live from home, work from home. And outside of addressing COVID-19 itself and maybe health-related queries, what do you think are the ecosystem opportunities for voice, or for generally the consumer opportunities for voice, and what use cases do you think are potentially maybe more relevant or more helpful in this new context?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and you always need to strike the right balance between solving for the immediacy, and there are things that are more urgent like information and so forth, but also looking at, hey, is this going to change the world in some ways? It's going to create new trends, new behaviors that maybe be pervasive even after the shelter in place, right? And even after hopefully we get a hold and control of this virus. I think that some of the interesting things that we're seeing, of course, and many people may have read about them in general, is group communication is something that we're seeing happening. People are having the need to communicate with others. Video calling is happening a lot more. We're also seeing, for example, that of course people at home are consuming more media, ranging from audio, music, or podcasts, all the way to video streaming, and even content like stories for their kids. and games, people are using the devices more for those things. Wellness, well-being, health, fitness is something that I presume that it's top of mind for a lot of people right now. And we believe that there are going to be a lot of opportunities in that space as well. Online education, of course, is an interesting one. Anybody who has kids has been experiencing what it means for kids to take lessons online, but also from us parents becoming teachers to some degree. I don't think we're doing, hopefully people are doing a better job than the one I'm doing, but applications and tools that help people with education and education content, it's going to be very powerful too. And I think that, the habits that are going to form around online ordering of food, groceries, and things like that are also gonna prevail even after we get past this.
Yeah, those are great insights. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, so we know that voice will play a very important role moving forward. And one of the key things that we always focus on that's near and dear to my heart, of course, is how we work with the ecosystem. We're sponsoring Voice Talks. We just did Voice of the Car Summit. We are doing Voice Global this summer with the Modev team also. Where do you see partners and partner opportunities in working with Google Assistant?
Yeah, we talk a lot about one of the things that we want to do with the assistant is help people get things done. And we hope that the assistant provides or becomes the best way to get things done. So any opportunity that as a partner, people have to say, I can improve this experience or this behavior, make it seamless, easier, fewer steps, right? And reducing friction, I think are going to be very, very, very powerful. In many ways, you could think about how do you improve the mundane? How do you improve all those tasks that I need to do? And how do you make it a lot easier and faster? I think another phenomenon, another thing that it's interesting for all of us to think about is that many of these devices that people are using at home are shared devices, right? They are used by every member of the family. They're sitting in a kitchen or on a family room and a living room. And we have become used to design for personal devices, but not many people have thought about what it means to design for a shared device and what are shared experiences that you can create. I think that there are a lot of opportunities there. We've seen a lot of great things coming from all of the partners that you and your team help us work with. Matchbox.io, Volley are providing great entertainment content. I've been playing a lot of these games and some of the educational content with the family. And I just know that we work with a myriad of partners that are providing these amazing opportunities. And my ask is always try to think about, what is the problem and what is the thing that you're improving for users? What is that thing that you're making easier, faster, more seamless, more convenient? And I think that there's the opportunity to improve how we all get things done in our homes, but also as we are on the go as well.
That's great. That's terrific. How do you think ambient computing plays a role in building for voice? What are the kinds of things that developers should focus on?
Yeah, it's a great question. Life is a continuum, right? Your life is not just attached to your home. I mean, sadly, these days we're more confined to our homes, but the reality is that, under normal conditions, your life goes from home. You may get in your car or commute, then you get to work, then you get to do something outside, then you go back home. And in all these interactions, you have the opportunity to have, in this case, the assistant. It's prevalent and it's with you all along the way, right? So having an opportunity to design something that follows the user and meets them where they are. What happens when you're at home? What happens when you're in your car? What happens when you're on your phone? And designing the experiences to carry over and think about, hey, it's not a one size fits all. It's really a multimodal experience, right? On the speaker, you can only provide audio, right? And maybe you can pair it with the phone to provide something on the screen. In the car, hopefully people are not looking at their phones, and voice actually provides a very safe way to get things done. And then on your phone, you actually have a screen. So the interaction with voice is great. It can actually make things a lot faster, but also utilizing the screen actually provides a great opportunity to develop something that it's more attuned to the device in which you are delivering it. So I think that the interesting thing for us is that we have the opportunity to be present all along that continuum and that journey that people take every day. and you have the opportunity to design experiences that follow the users where they are.
That's great. We've been really focused on sort of the near-term opportunities and COVID-19 context, which absolutely is the right thing to do, and to think about how we and partners are helping users right now. But this audience that's tuned into Voice Talks is very, very interested in the future of voice, the 3 to 5 year roadmap, where are things going? And Manuel, I know this is something that's near and dear to your heart. We're both very bullish on voice. So what does the future of voice look like? What can you tell us about the future?
Yeah, let me cover a few things that are super interesting in the near term, and I'll expand the horizon, right? So if you think about, I mean, we think about voice, we think about what we call ambient computing, right? And it's this computing platform that is with you wherever you are, that you can access in natural, simple, natural commands. So you don't have to memorize instructions or menus or clicks. You just can say what you want or express it in natural language and get an answer. There are other attributes that are interesting about ambient computing, right? Like your identity is the same identity across all of these devices. So you don't need to authenticate with services every time you go to them, right? And with technologies like voice match or ability to recognize your face, the device now knows who's the person who's talking to the service, and then they can customize the experience. Some interesting examples that we're thinking about, for example, in the phone space, in the mobile space, is this idea that with the assistant and with voice, you can also interface with the apps that are on your phone. And when you think about that, it's not that you want to replace every single behavior with voice, like touching the screen is also very easy. But if you can issue commands that are like multi-step commands, that if I were to do them on my phone, I would need to open an app, open a menu, click 3 things, and then get it done. I think that the voice technology becomes very, very powerful, even when you get it done through that app, right? One of my favorite examples is if you're trying to track your calories and you're trying to track what you're eating every day, it's a lot easier to say to my phone, I just ate a banana, than having to open the app to do that. Now, the interesting thing is that, of course, when I say I just ate a banana, you want that information to go to the app that you're using to track your calorie consumption and your exercise. So
Right.
It's not that, it's a very symbiotic relationship where the voice provides the shortcut, but the app still provide all the power and the richness that the app can deliver. So some of those opportunities are real now and are near present, right? So I'm very excited about those. I think that looking into the future, I think that again I continue to think about how can we make people's lives easier, right? And part of our mission in many ways is give people back time, which is probably one of the most precious assets, if not, other than health, maybe it's the most precious asset that we all have. And if I can do things with this product that actually help me save time, that help me do things faster, better, that allow me to delegate tasks, mundane things that I don't want to do, to this assistant technology and these services that are supporting this assistant technology, you can build something very powerful, right? So I think that as you're building products for this ecosystem, like many other, you need to think about a couple of things, right? First, you would think, is there something that exists today that I can make 10x better, 10x faster, 10x easier, 10x more seamless? The other thing that you can do is say, what is something that was not possible before? Something that people were not able to do before. And if I'm able to deliver that, I'm solving a real problem. I'm giving them something that is very delightful, but didn't exist before. And this technology now makes that possible. I think that, look, the amazing thing about the ecosystem and the fortune that you have partnering with all these amazing teams and people who are building for this space is that the creativity there is infectious, right? And the things that people are trying to build are pretty amazing. And it will not come up from me. It will not come up from my teams. It will come up from all the people in the world who are thinking about how can I actually make the best use of these tools, this platform, this technology to create something that adds tremendous value to users today and in the future. And that's what gets me excited about the space.
Great. Well, that's great. I mean, it's an exciting vision. I think you and I are both obviously super bullish on voice. It's fun to come to work or come to the home office every day to think about these things. Well, I think Manuel and I just want to say thank you to the voice community for tuning in, and we want to know that we still feel really connected to the community, even though we aren't able to see so many of our new friends in the community. And an opportunity like Voice Talks is just a great way to stay engaged. So please get in touch with us on email, on Twitter. We really would love to hear from you. But it's just been terrific to be able to connect. And Manuel, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Danny, and definitely to all the people who are watching and listening. Thank you so much. Stay in there, stay strong, and I'm sure that we're going to build some amazing things together. So thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Danny and Manuel. And Danny, you're absolutely right. Coming to the home office every day, it's been really exciting to think about how we're going to build these things that, as Manuel said, are either 10 times faster or 10 times easier or just didn't exist before. And I think Duplex is a great example of this. The first time that I heard about Duplex, and I think, Danny, you played it for me in the office, I was just so impressed by it. The technology is incredible and it sounds so real. And nowadays, you really don't want to leave your house unless you know 100% that the business that you're going to will be open. So I think the fact that we're using Duplex to call businesses and update their business hours and update if they offer delivery or pickup is just, again, such a powerful application of that technology, especially during this crisis. I must also say that I've been enjoying a lot the hand washing timer and song. The first time I tried it was when I realized that when you're washing your hands, 5 seconds can go by so slow. This entire time I thought I was washing my hands for at least 20 seconds. But when I used the song was when I realized that that was not true at all. So now I'm really excited to have this song to kind of keep me on pace and on track to wash my hands properly and to at least keep me a little bit entertained while I do it. The song, I must say, is actually quite catchy. I introduced it to my nephew, and my nephew is now slowly starting to listen to it on repeats, which I think is making my sister a little bit crazy. And I've actually been enjoying the song quite myself, and I wanted to sing you a little piece today, but everyone that knows me really advised me against doing this for your own sanity. So I promise you, and trust me, I'm not gonna do it, but you should definitely go and check it out. But just not right now. Watch it after the show. You can go, but not right now. And then the last thing is that I was actually reading a lot of comments about one of Manuel's points, that using devices these days without touching them, especially shared devices, can be a really powerful thing. We had a comment from Nidhi Kumar who said, "We can use our voice to open a door, switch on a light, open, close a tap, through which the spread can potentially be avoided." Many of us have been using these use cases for a while now, and we use them either for accessibility or for our own personal comfort. But I think it's great that now in the middle of this crisis, they can even serve a new purpose to potentially help us spread the spread of the virus. We've also been receiving a lot of videos from the community where some of you are sharing ideas about how voice technology can help. So up next, we're gonna show you 2 videos from Dexter and Poojan. Enjoy.
This is Dexter Zavalza in San Jose, California. My interest is in the network maintenance and troubleshooting for Internet of Things. So working from home, taking a lot of calls, choppy audio or occasionally the video cut out, be able to say, "Hey, platform, how many devices are on my network right now? Hey, platform, what's my connection speed? Hey, platform, kick my kids' devices off so I can get back to work."
Hey guys, I am Poojan Shah from India. Basically, I am a developer. My idea defines is a small voice application where assistant replies with ways to fight against coronavirus, as in to wash hands, to keep safe distances, and to speak out number of cases around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dexter and Poojan. And Poojan, we hope that now you go try out the hand washing song and that you enjoy it. And as Manuel said, our teams are working very hard to bring to you the most up-to-date information in relation to all the coronavirus questions that are being asked to these devices. And we're also very excited to continue expanding our news coverage on the Google Assistant. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to pull out your cell phones, to take out your cameras, and to record those videos and send them to us. Now we're gonna send something to you. So Dexter, you get a Google Assistant device, and Poojan, you get another Google Assistant device. And I've basically been waiting this entire show and potentially my entire life to do this Oprah moment, to do this Latin impersonation of Oprah. So I hope that you guys are feeling it, because we're gonna have many more moments like this throughout the show where we are gonna be giving you guys giveaways for some of the videos that you submitted. So up next, it's time to look at what Amazon is doing in response to the current challenges. And to do so, we have someone that needs no introduction to this voice community. He's been the voice of Alexa for the partner ecosystem for a very long time. So I'm very pleased to welcome Chief Evangelist David Isbitsky to Voice Talks. Here's David.
Hey everyone, Dave here, coming to you from self-isolation in my podcast studio. I want to thank everyone for letting me come on. I was excited when I got the invite to just be able to talk about what's going on, what I am seeing in voice, hopefully give you some ideas. I think it's a time there's tons of opportunity around experimentation right now. And also share, what can we do? That was the first thing that me and my family went through is what can we do to help? I've seen a lot of that online. I've heard stories from all of you. For me, a lot of that is helping out family, helping out neighbors, just helping out where I can in the community. And so I put together a URL I wanted to show you. This is a page that we've been updating. So if you go to bit.ly COVID voice, you'll see some updates. This is actually an echo show being given out to hospitals who are just amazing heroes. One of my neighbors, she's a nurse, and the stories that we've been hearing, actually been making some face masks to help out. And how does voice come into play, right? I mean, it seems such a natural thing now, like I don't want to touch elevator buttons, right? I need a voice-activated elevator. And I think we're just going to become very cognizant of what we're touching, right? And so there's opportunity there. And this is just a site that you can continue to go and you can check out. You'll see some things on my feed. I try and retweet when I can of stuff going on. And it's funny too, if you see my hair, I usually get a haircut before I'm on stage. And so this is probably the worst my hair will ever be. It's kind of reverting to its 1990s flop, which I keep seeing on the picture. But hey, it's super interesting seeing, whether I'm doing a call with the community or at work, or just family. It's super interesting seeing everybody's in that same boat, like seeing homes, seeing kids come on camera and pets. It brings back the human aspect to all this. And I decided whether I should go beard or not. So I'm still shaving at this point, but who knows, right? And sorry for touching my face there. This is my grizzled fake beard. And so let's talk a little bit about opportunity. What I wanted to do for opportunity is show you real data. And so this is a skill, an Alexa skill that I have talked about in keynotes before, all of you may have seen. And this is what the data used to look like before the past, now I want to say, depending on where you live, right? It's been, for me, my home here is in Pennsylvania. So it's been over a month now of self-imposed isolation, right? And so this is what the numbers look like now. I had maybe a 1% retention. And this is a skill I don't market. I don't even know how people find this. And so if you have, it doesn't even have to be an Alexa experience, regardless of what you're building today, if you do not have an experience out there during this time, it's really incredible to see how people are using these devices. Everybody's home. And so having conversations and interacting. Here's an IPA. Here's an interactive path. And this is what it used to look like. And what you can see now is I'm actually 6 levels deep. And because of the diversity of customers using this, you can actually see reprompts, which is when Alexa will take care of, if she doesn't understand what somebody was trying to say, actually reprompting them to speak it a little bit clearer on my behalf as a developer. So just really kind of cool to see all this. I'm getting insights into how people are using this like I've never had before. You can see as we flatten the curve together to help everyone, you can see this curve for customers has just gone up. And there's a lot of stories I do hear. I do try and retweet some of those. It's not my story to share. You'll see them out on social, a lot of the developers that are sharing this. So I'm just sharing my little skill here. But you can see 100% increase in the past 30 days. And what I'm doing is, I think where most of us has been home, so this is from mid-March to mid-April, and I think this will just continue to go up. And so if you haven't created a voice experience now, or you've been on the fence, like for my kids, and I hear this from a lot of people, it doesn't matter the age, just to have a game to play, whether there's a family or just to give yourself 15 minutes apiece, right? If you have an idea for a game, escapism, go ahead and play a game. I've been doing that. I've been doing that both with voice-driven experiences and consoles and my PC, as well as like news and information and things like that is really important. And so what we're trying to do is create a more human experience. And so it's important to understand at the end of the day, it's about people. So things like, it doesn't matter whether I switch between Spanish and English, you can still understand me. To understand things like, what's my daily routine? I'm sure all of your daily routines have been disrupted by this. I used to be about 50% travel, and I had a routine for when I was home, and I had a routine for when I was on the road. And anybody is listening to this, if you were, and I know a lot of you are, if you're a traveler like me, like, man, how sad was it when you finally like had to put away that like one thing that you save for travel? Like for me, I always had this the stuff in the bathroom, like I was always in a pile in the corner that was just reserved for travel, so I would never run out of toothpaste and soap, or shows that I always saved to stream when I had that like 14-hour round trip flight. And so everyone's routines have changed, and Alexa has things like hunches of what is your new daily routine, understanding me, what did you say, what did you hear, not having a black box, so that I feel empowered as a human being and know what I said was heard. Or identifying things, this is important. My parents are older, can't see as well. Just being able to hold things up to a camera and say, what is this? Is this the right medication? Just a really empowering human beings. And so, whether it's creating your own voice or using some of the built-in experiences, here's Samuel L. Jackson, it's just important to give people that opportunity to connect in their own way. And so during all this, first thing, how do we help? Hopefully, some of the resources there can show you things that are going on, what's happening, give you some ideas for stuff that you can do. And I think the voice community has been really incredible with some of the stuff you're all doing. I continue to be impressed. Use this time now to experiment, to look at data, to look at retention and what people are using, and really understand our mindset, where it is right now. Because I think everything is going to change. You may have had a voice experience 2 months ago that you're seeing is being used very differently now. And so take this time and look at it as an opportunity. And remember, it's about people and not products. And I wanted to end this with just one example. I only have time for one, of some of the things people have been tweeting out in the community. I thought this was really fun. This one is from Daniel, and you'll see there's a bit.ly link that I have down at the bottom, as well as his Twitter handle. This is actually a bunch of assistants, not just Alexa, all singing together. And I think it's a fun way. And it gave me a chuckle, and I shared it with my kids and family as well. So stay safe out there. I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you, David. And I must say, I'm really jealous. Your apartment looks pretty fun and awesome. And while you were speaking, we thought to look up that video of Daniel's orchestra on devices to see what it sounds like. So we're gonna play it now, so everyone check it out. All right, I don't think... All right, I don't think we have the video, but then afterwards we'll make sure to send it to everyone so that everyone can see it. Thanks again, David, so much for coming on the show today. It was such a pleasure having you. And as you said, now can be a great time to experiment and learn about how people are interacting with your voice application. And it looks like Emanuel Ricci from Italy is doing just that. He wrote in to let us know that, he says, I'm from Italy, and to be honest, voice has been helpful for me because I had the opportunity to spend my free time after work to develop voice games as a hobby. I also love to participate in voice launch events and meet new people. It's a hard time living alone in a shutdown country like Italy, but the voice developer community is helping to make things easier. The first time I read that comment, Manuel, I was so moved by it. So really, thank you so much for taking that time to write those thoughtful words, and we're definitely here with you. During this next segment, we love to ask you a question and get your answers on the box below. So the question that we want to know about is, we want to hear about what devices are you building on? So please leave comments in the chat or on Twitter by using the hashtag AskSofia, and then we'll take a look at those comments later on. Up next, we know that it's a very industry time for this industry, especially as consumer behavior has been shifting. A lot more people are working from home and they're looking to stay connected to their friends and family. And they're also asking a lot more of their devices to help them stay entertained, fit, healthy, and just help them around their house. So to talk more about that, we're gonna have Brett Kinsella from voca.ai to tell us the latest industry trends that he's been seeing over the past few months. So over to you, Brett.
Well, thank you, Sophia. I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited to be here at Voice Talks, the inaugural Voice Talks. And I just love the fact that we're able to get together as a community. Thanks so much to Modev and Google for putting this together. I was just thinking that normally I would be getting ready to go to Google I/O, which we're not going to be able to do this year. So hopefully some of the conversations today and over the coming weeks will fill in some of that gap. But we were all adjusting to this time at home, as Danny and Manuel were just talking about. And I thought I would talk a little bit about that. Many of you who have seen me speak at some of these conferences have seen me really focus on this idea of the car and the phone being some of the next areas to really pop for voice. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about smart speakers, and I have some recent research that I'm going to share with you today. So the first thing is, if you don't know what voicebot.ai, so we've been around since 2016, and we really think of ourselves as the central resource for voice and AI technology, content, and data. And in particular, I think people know us for our research, and we just have a new report out. And so if you want to download some of the content or some of the charts that we're looking at today, just go to voicebot.ai/research and you can take a look at that. But we also have a lot of other resources. We have the podcast and then voicebot.ai, where we're publishing about 60 to 70 articles a month to make it easy for you to keep track of what's going on in the industry. Okay, so let's move on. And I think we just talked about this idea that smart speakers are really important. And they're particularly important now because everybody's at home. And this is one of the most important technology additions that we've seen over the last decade into the family portfolio of devices. And so one of the things that we can just talk about, the top line numbers, is we have this new data out from the end of 2019. And we found that there's almost 90 million people with smart speakers right now. That's about 34% of the US adult population. And that represents 32% year-over-year growth since 2018. So a lot of people thought that real big pop that we had last year, where it was 40% growth, 19 million new smart speaker owners over the year, would not be replicated, that we'd see a significant tapering. And in fact, we had 21 million new people add smart speakers to their home device collection this year. So it's actually been pretty strong in terms of the adoption. And I think if you look at it, one of the key reasons why it's been so strong is because there's a lot of utility in these devices. And in fact, what you see is on the data that we have on the screen, the frequency of use is something we look at. One of the things we really have always been very measured about in terms of looking at smart speakers is how many people are becoming regular adopters, regular users of these smart speakers in the home. And we always look at monthly and daily active users. So if you look here, you can see that the monthly and daily active users, the percent of those has climbed over the last year. And in fact, for daily active users, one of the things I'll point out to you here is that people who have had the devices for more than 2 years are actually about 10 points more likely to be daily active users. So the longer they've had these types of devices, the more likely they are to be daily active users. And that's an indication of a technology that's really sticking and becoming a habit for a lot of people. The other thing that we really point out is say, hey, is this something that people really like and use? Is it a fad? Is it not a fad? Well, what we're seeing is that people who own the devices are much more likely to own more than one device now. And in fact, if we go back to 2018, we were able to estimate that about everyone who owned a smart speaker had about 1.8 per household. Now that number is up to 2.55 or 2.54. So very close. So really significant growth. And in fact, what you see now is that we're about 2/3 of the people had one device 2 years ago. Now, under half have one device. In fact, that means over half the people have multiple devices and about a quarter have 3 or more. And so again, we're looking at sort of the utility and the value of these devices in the home. The data shows that this is something that's going to be a long-term benefit for users. And the other thing I think I really want to point out to people is the use cases. And I think that's probably something that we don't spend enough time talking about. Like, how are people using these? And Danny and Manuel we're talking about this idea of people at home and how are they using these devices. And here's a list. This is sort of the famous chart that we put out there every year. And we look at the ever tried, the monthly, and the daily. And so each of those you can look at. Listening to streaming music, definitely the killer app of smart speakers. It's the tops in all 3 categories. Asking a question is a little bit behind that. And then we have some of these other things. But one of the things I like to point out to people is what's working on these platforms. And certainly media and entertainment are working on these platforms. People are at home, they're relaxing, maybe they're getting information, but they're listening to music, and they're even playing games. And I'll just point out to you, of the top 10 use cases that people claim that they're using the devices for, 5 of them fall in that entertainment category. The others are in that information utilities, just get things done, which is clearly a useful benefit as well. In that entertainment category, if you look at that left column at the bottom, we have play a game. And I thought I would point out something that's specific to this era of coronavirus. First of all, what we see is about a quarter of the people list themselves as monthly active users of games on smart speakers. And so that's one of the things people are always wondering. Are people using games a lot? What are they doing other than timers, alarms, and music? Well, games are something that has actually been coming up a bit. And the other thing is I've talked to a number of game makers in the industry over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And what they normally get is about 50% more traffic on the weekends than they do during the week. It's probably not that surprising. There's more people at home during the week or on the weekend. So they're in front of their device and they're relaxing and they're playing these games. Well, everybody's home all week now. And what they're actually seeing is that there's no difference between the weekends and the weekdays. In fact, all the weekdays now look like weekends. So most of the game folks are actually quite happy with this development. And the other thing that I want to point out is this idea around habit formation. And so a lot of psychologists will tell you that 21 days, about 3 weeks of doing something repeatedly means that it will become a habit. And in fact, most people have been home for 3-4 weeks now, and they're around their smart speakers and they're actually using them more and in different ways. So I expect some of these numbers to actually tick up over the next year. I think games are clearly one of them. These entertainment categories are the strongest, maybe some of the utilities as well. There's some other things around integrating smart speakers into your office work, because a lot of people have home office and their business day. So those are some things that I'll be definitely looking at over the next year. But these are the latest figures right now for how people are using the devices. The other thing I wanted to point out, in the era of coronavirus, we're wondering what people think about voice assistants in healthcare. And this has been an open question for some time. Last fall, we did an analysis along with Orbita of how people are using voice assistants in healthcare today and how they would like to use them. And one of the things we found is that a very small percentage of people are actually using voice assistants today, 7.5%. But we also found that over 50% of the people want to be able to use their voice assistants for healthcare use cases. So there's a gap in what is available for them to use and what they're actually and what they actually want to use. And so it has not been surprising to me at all that so many people have flocked to their Google Home and their Google Assistant on the smartphone and all the other voice assistants that they use in order to learn more about the coronavirus, in order to diagnose themselves. This is what they've wanted to do. And so I think this is going to be a real catalyst for adoption of voice assistants in healthcare over the next year. And then the other thing is, what do they care about? Asking about illness symptoms, diagnosis, how to find an urgent care or clinic, or how to get set up with telemedicine. These are the things that they really want to do with their voice assistants. I think coronavirus is going to really kick that up, and it's going to be an expectation for patients going forward, and not just something that they think about and would like to have. Well, they will consider it soon to be a must-have. And that is what's going on with smart speaker use and voice assistants in healthcare. Check out voice.ai. Check me out on the Twitter @BreckAndSell. I'll try to answer any of the questions that you have. And go to voicebot.ai/research and you can have some of these charts for yourself. Sofia, this has been so much fun. Thanks for inviting me to Voice Talk. Back to you.
Thank you, Brett. This has been fun for us as well. And you had incredible stats. It's so interesting to see the adoption rate continue to grow up so exponentially, and that now about 34% of the adult population has a smart speaker. You also had really great stats about use case in relation to healthcare, and we were actually seeing a lot of the comments in relation to this. So one of the comments that we saw was from Catherine Han, and she said that now more than ever, home is the front door of healthcare, and we need more voice tools to manage care at home for ourselves and our loved ones. Thank you, Catherine. I couldn't agree more. And as Brad said, he's responding live on Twitter, so do tweet at him and use the hashtag AskSophia. We've also been receiving a bunch of videos about you saying how you think voice technology can help improve our lives during these days. And we have been particularly struck by a few of the suggestions saying that voice can be used as an early warning sign for coronavirus. Gulshan Mehta was one of the people that got in touch with us to share a video about this, so we want to share this video with you. Enjoy.
Hi, a great use case and very apt for the current times is the use of voice and AI to detect a person's medical conditions or any infections based on the sound of his voice and cough. There are already research papers on this topic and work happening in this area.
Thank you, Gulshan. We really appreciate your video, and a Google Home device is on its way to you. So with that in mind, I am very pleased to welcome the host of the Inside Voice podcast, Carrie Roberts, interviewing Jolene Amit from voca.ai for our first community spotlight segment. Jolene is going to be talking to us about what her company is doing in this exact area. Next to you, Carrie.
Thank you, Sophia. I'm Carrie Roberts. I'm the host of the Inside Voice podcast, and I'm here today with Jolene Amit. She is the VP of Marketing at voca.ai. Welcome, Jolene. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Carrie. Thank you so much for having me a part of this program. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Voca helps create virtual agents for companies, and I will say personally that your AI sounds so lifelike. It sounds so human, more than others that I've experienced. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about Voca as a whole, and especially how it's created such a robust AI and how it sounds so lifelike.
Sure, thank you. So this is really what we coin ourselves to. It's our human-like virtual agents because voice AI really only is as good as the tech behind it. In other words, if I'm creating a conversational virtual agent and it can't converse as we would, then the true impact isn't there and it's less meaningful. What sets us apart is our ability to use speech to intent algorithm, allowing us to understand the meaning of users directly from their speech, which makes our virtual agent empathetic and human-like. It's important for us that when people call their customers, they're greeted without wait times and that they feel taken care of. For us, this is extremely important.
Now, your company is doing two amazing things during this COVID-19 time, and one of them is you are helping with high peak call volumes to certain organizations, especially in places like financial institutions. Many people have a lot of questions with their money. They want them answered now. Can you talk about how your company is helping these organizations be able to get Voca virtual agents in less than 1 week?
Absolutely. So right now, as you mentioned, financial institutions are receiving on average around 3 to 4 times the call volume due to the spike in loans, credit cards, applications, in addition to payment deferments. We see that the average wait time has greatly increased, in addition to remote working constraints, reducing the efficiency of call centers. It is extremely important for us at Voca to make sure our customers are providing the absolute best customer service, especially in these sensitive times, which is why we are promising the quick implementation and the free setup, simply because financial institutions need this help now. And so we've promised to provide that within the 7-day period. And what's great about it is that you have somebody to answer the phone 24/7, and they can handle about 80% of all first line inquiries. So Carrie, if you were going to call your bank, they would greet you. They would say, "Hi Carrie, how are you? How can I help you today?" And you might say, "You know what? I forgot my 4-digit code," or "I actually need a loan right now. Can you assist me with that?" And the virtual agent can guide you through that process. And so this in turn also helps the agents become more efficient with their time, because they're not dealing with those repetitive tasks. They're able to do complex calls. And so ensures therefore a high customer satisfaction so that people can get what they need and they can get it efficiently. And it's also important and interesting to think about because the elder population, they can no longer even go to their branch anymore. And so phone would be the way that they would contact the bank and want to take care of their finances. So this is, the most natural way that we communicate and a great way for banks to provide service now.
It is, and it just makes you feel cared for. And it's wonderful that an AI
Absolutely.
can do that. And one of the other things that you're doing is you've partnered with Carnegie Mellon University in a project called the Corona Voice Detect, and it helps enable fast diagnosis of COVID-19. Can you tell us about how that's working and what the process and goal of it is?
Sure. So this is something that we're actually really proud about, and it's a special project to us, simply because this is a project we really care about our communities and the global well-being. This is something that we are doing from our hearts, and the goal really here is to create a free at-home voice-based test for COVID-19. And we understand that many people around the world do not have access to tests. And so this would be the solution to that. We've partnered, as you mentioned, with Carnegie Mellon University and other researchers from universities such as Harvard, Stanford, MIT, as well as other hospitals as well. And we're all committed to easy access medical tests. So the point here is really to get a variety of different tests from people who are healthy and become sick, and then also people who have gotten the virus. So to have that wide range in order for us to properly create an algorithm. And what's really great here is because this data is completely open to the public, many people have contacted us and are eager to help us with our algorithm. And we've really seen an global outpour from people all around the world, from many different universities and many different hospitals, willing to help get the data. So it's really nice to see how many people are interested. And what we're doing is we've combined recently developed AI and voice forensic technologies, finding specific patterns in voice, tone, and other sounds that we produce as we speak that relate to unique illnesses and other human factors. And we are currently now working on the data collection phase and developing that algorithm. So we're around 80% in achieving that goal, and we're now continuing to gather more data so that we can have a higher level of efficiency.
Well, I congratulate you and your team in doing something that's so needed at this time. If people want to learn more about the Voice Detect project, or if they want to learn more about Voca in general, where can they do that?
Sure. So if you go to our website, voca.ai/corona-virus, you'll be able to contribute your voice there, or you can just go to our website, voca.ai, and go under the resource tab, and you'll need to sign in, and then you'll just be asked a few short questions.
Thank you so much, Jolene, for all the work you and your company are doing. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today.
Thank you, Carrie. It was a pleasure speaking with you as well.
Back to you, Sophia.
Thank you, Carrie and Jolene. That was a fascinating interview. I am just so impressed with the rapid work that companies like voca.ai are doing in this space. So please continue doing what you're doing, and we're all really so impressed with the work that you, in partnership with the University Carnegie Mellon, are doing. We're looking to spotlight more projects like this and more ideas in our upcoming community spotlights in the future episodes. So please get in touch with us through our website starting tomorrow and submit videos to us about what you and your company are doing. Now, let's take a look at that poll question that we asked a few minutes ago. We were interested to see what devices you were building for. So let me get my tablet and see what you guys were responding. Ooh, okay. It looks like a lot of you were responding that you're building experiences for smart displays, which is great. Smart displays are really an incredible opportunity, especially now that we're all staying at home for a long duration of time. We're really engaging with our smart displays really often. So we see a lot of people creating actions like games to play around with their families, things to keep them up to date with reminders, or things to keep them very active. So smart displays is definitely a great device to build for, and thank you all for submitting those answers. Now I want to make sure that I have time to take a few of the live questions that you've been sending. So let me look again at some of these questions that you've been sending. All right. And so the first question is from Carmen Betancourt, who is asking, how are the people of New York going through quarantine? Thank you, Carmen, for this question, and this is a great question. I think everyone in New York is taking kind of a different approach to quarantine. We're all definitely staying at home. I've been super busy, so definitely haven't had that much time to even go outside for walks and whatnot. But we're all, doing the best that we can during this time. And really, we just want to be indoors so that we stop spreading the virus. So whatever we can do to contribute, that's what we want to do. And we, of course, want to be helping the people that are in the front lines. One of my favorite things about New York City right now is that at 7 p.m. every single day, we all open our windows and we clap out the door for about 1 minute to show our consolidation and our appreciation for the people that are in the front lines. So I know New York City is a state that got severely hit, and we hope that we'll be able to be past this very soon. So thanks again for your question. So now let me take a look at another question. All right. We got a question from Ashish. He said, he tweeted at Ask Sofia. And he said, the past few weeks in self-quarantine, I built 2 Google Home actions to engage my 2-year-old with Book Reader and Rhymes Radio. He totally loves it and is a power user. This is awesome. This is definitely a comment, so I'm so excited for you, Ashish. This is definitely, again, as David said, a great time to experiment, to learn about how to build for these platforms. And if your children can use what you're building, that is just an amazing plus. And I'm glad that you're finding ways to keep distracted and to find fun ways to be engaging with your family through voice. All right, we'll take one more question. All right. We have a question from Philip Bender, and he said, I got excited when I heard Manuel describe the potential application of the voice assistant, knowing what to do with the comment, I just ate a banana. Is this technology available now? All right, so this is a great question. Part of this technology is definitely available now. This is something that we announced at Google I/O last year, and it's called App Actions, and it basically gives the capability of you being able to tell your phone something, and then the action will actually happen in an app that you have on your phone. So we definitely have a bunch of what we call built-in intents out there that let you build for these experiences, so that when someone says, I just ate a banana, they can go to their favorite app where they can log a meal and they can log the banana that they ate. So this technology is definitely part is out there, and the rest is in progress, but I think you're all going to be happy this year because we have a lot more on this particular type of technology that we're going to be announcing this year. So thank you all so much for your questions. We were also getting a lot of comments about heartwarming ways that the Google Assistant and just voice technology in general is helping you during these days. So we wanted to take an opportunity to read out some of those very special comments. And then after that, we're also going to be watching 3 videos about the same topic. So let's see what the first comment is. So our first comment is from Luciana Moraes, who is saying, I think it would be cute to be able to send sound bites like hug, kisses, etc. to people via voice devices during this time of isolation. Luciana, that is music to my ears because I am a big hugger and I'm missing definitely a lot of hugs. So I would not only use this action, but I would love to participate in it so my family can also get a virtual hug from me. So thank you so much for that comment. And so for our second comment, we have a comment from Diana Orozco, who's saying, my grandma got excited to hear jokes from a machine and she laughed at them. I'm even laughing at this myself because I can definitely see my grandma doing the same thing every time she's not with us on the phone with me or with my family. I can definitely see her engaging with her Google Assistant, asking the Google Assistant to tell her jokes. So I think this is just a very cute way that we can help our grandparents to keep them entertained during this time. All right, and we have time for one more comment. So let's see what it is. All right, we have this heartwarming comment from Wendy Cooper. And she says, my father is 91 years old and lives alone. He's an ex-fighter pilot, and we joke that his motorized wheelchair is his jet and that the Google Assistant is the tower. His entire home is smart. It helps us, his family, feel safer in this time, and it truly helps the quality of his life. Wendy, I cannot thank you enough for sending that comment. This is a big piece and reason why I love my job and I love this technology. I'm so glad that technology like this can really help your father, Wendy, and we hope that we can keep empowering and helping more people. So thank you again for writing that very heartfelt message. Now, on the same boat, we have 3 videos that were sent in that we want you to see. And these 3 videos are from Krijin, Nadia, and Michael. So take a look.
Hello, I'm Kai Jansen, conversational consultant. First, I would have to say that detecting COVID-19 through voice technology is absolutely amazing. However, Google Actions that spark joy at this moment would be Google Actions that bring the outside world inside your home, things we can't do right now, such as the Google Action from animal experts. It reminds you of the past, of the sounds of the animals outside. It reminds you to stay inside, stay healthy, and appreciate it when we can experience the real thing again outside.
Our ChatPal project involves the use of a chatbot to help with the mental health and emotional well-being of people living in rural areas where isolation and the difficulty of access to traditional resources is a problem. Currently, we're working on the development of a chatbot to deal with isolation due to the coronavirus.
Add milk to my shopping list, please. Hi, I'm Nadia Rojas. I'm the Smart Assistant product owner called Bloom for the leading consumer bank in Mexico. We are developing use cases using voice technology to improve our customer experience. At my house, I use almost everything with voice: to control the TV, to turn on the lights, to play some music, to make reminders, well, a lot of things. It is making easier my life nowadays. I think voice will be the future to interact with Internet of Things.
Thank you all so much for those videos and for those comments. We're so pleased you took the time to send those to us. And the Voice Talks teams will get in touch with you very shortly to send you a couple of gifts that may or may not include some fabulous t-shirts like the ones that I'm wearing. So I hope you find them cool, and let me tell you, they're definitely very, very comfortable. So thank you again for sharing those comments with us. And sadly, we're getting to the moment that we're ending the first episode of Voice Talks. But before we do, I wanted to say a huge thank you to our guest speakers today. Danny, Manuel, Brett, David, and Carrie, and Jolene. Thank you so much for coming to the show today and for sharing your experiences and all of your insights with voice. I also wanted to say thank you to the crew behind the camera. We've all had so much fun putting this first episode of Voice Talks together for you. And especially and most importantly, we want to thank you, our community, the people that are watching, all of you who submitted comments, ideas. We really couldn't have done this without you, and you're such a big part of the Voice Talks community now. So thank you again so much. Our next episode will be streaming live on May 26th, and we're going to be talking about building voice experiences for this time. I am a woman in tech myself, and I'm so excited to announce that in our next episode, we're going to have a lineup of all female speakers from some of the most incredible women in this space, including Lilian Rincon, the Senior Director of Product Management for the Google Assistant, and Leslie Garcia from our Google Product Partnerships team. We are so excited to have them next time. These are women that I respect and admire so much, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to share with us. So thank you all again for watching today, and we cannot wait to see you on May 26th. Until then, please stay safe and take care. Ciao!